Welcome, Paul. Thanks for joining us. Got a few people coming in. If I could ask you too, if you wouldn't mind just popping yourselves on mute for the session, just because we've got quite a few people coming in. But bear with me, it won't be too long and I think we'll be ready to go. Welcome, Emma. All right, we've got a few people dialing in now. Miles, welcome. And Paul, I think, is still connecting. Welcome, Anthony. Nice to have you on the call. So everyone, what I'm going to do is I am recording this just for now. If you have any concerns with recording, please let me know and I will pause. But the goal with this is for me to enable other founders to come back and review this as they need to. It's a resource we use all the time at the SRI for those who aren't familiar with the Lean Canvas. And in a moment, I will launch. We've still got, I'll leave it till about 3 minutes past. So we've still got quite a few people that are scheduled to dial in. And I know sometimes this time of day, people can be a bit busy, so it might take a little bit of time. For those of you who may not have used Zoom before, just to let you know, if you are on your desktop, across the bottom, you will see the mute button. As I said, if you can stay muted for the session, that would be great. If you have any questions, I'll tell you how to pop them in the chat box. There is the stop video. So if you want your video on or off, that is totally fine with me. But I think for majority of these ones, Paul, yeah, so there's a reason why we capped it at 40 people, just because obviously there's a lot of things to get through and I assume a lot of people will have questions. I'm happy if you want to share your link with them just for this occasion, but I'm trying to keep it capped at that 40 just because I want to make sure if people do have questions, I can answer them sufficiently. But yeah, feel free to bring them in. Thank you for that question. So as I said, down the bottom, you'll see obviously a bit more information, but the chat box. If you're on an iPhone, there are the 3 dots at the bottom of your screen where you can press that, and that will enable it to pop up and it'll say chat. So if you have any questions, you can message me privately or to the group, and I'll keep an eye on that during the presentation. So I've got 15 of you dialed in so far, which is great. So what I might actually do, I might actually get started just because I'm conscious of the fact we do say it is going to be a 30-minute session. And I'm really conscious, hello Valerie, thanks for joining us. I'm really conscious of the fact that when I say 30 minutes, I want to keep it to 30 minutes. And honestly, this normally takes me about 2 to 3 hours to go through with people. So I'm going to talk pretty quickly, but as per our promise, this is a quick intro. What I'm going to do is at the end of this session, you will have an email from Eventbrite. Within that is a link for our feedback form, which I'd love you to fill out so I can get some feedback. And the second thing in there is a Calendly link for a one-on-one with me for next week. So there's 20-minute sessions that are blocked out in my calendar for next week on Monday and on Wednesday. If you have anything that we've gone through that you want to polish up, you didn't quite understand a concept, or you want to go through a little bit more about how we can support you at the SRI, please feel free to click that Calendly link and book in on that page. It just gathers some information for me to prepare me for that session. Okay, so I am going to share my screen. Give me one moment. Now, to start things off, what I'm actually going to do with you is Oh, goodness me. Hang on one second. Sorry. The screen is having a little moment. I'm just going to fix that up. It is having a little meltdown. Won't be one moment. And then I think I am good to go. Okay, awesome. Okay, so welcome to the quick intro to the Lean Canvas session. I am Dimity Smith. I am the Community and Outreach Manager for the UNE Smart Region Incubator. So as I said, I will be flying through this. Some of you might find this a little challenging because it is quick and it's a lot to take in. But as I said, click that link in the email from Eventbrite after the session to follow up anything further. So what is the SRI? So the UNE SRI is a collaborative workspace. We are online and at UNE Armidale and Tamworth. I'm actually here in Moree. So I moved out here at the end of last year. Learnt to do everything online, which has become awfully convenient given the current circumstances. So we look after founders to assist them to grow and scale their business across the New England Northwest. We do actually have affiliate founders who are from outside the region who get some support from us, but majority of the support that the SRI gives is for people across the New England Northwest. So we aim to connect founders or potential founders with contacts. That can be anyone from industry experts, our experts in residence, or providing workshops just like this one to give you the skills to be able to have a startup and succeed on your own. Okay, so this is me. Hi, so I'm the Community and Outreach Manager. So I am essentially, I know it's a bit of a silly title, but I'm the founder cheerleader. So I work with founders basically to help them with anything that they need to grow and scale. So if they're needing to be connected with an expert in residence, if they're needing to be linked up with someone in any particular area, that is my role, and making sure that they're getting everything that they need. As you'll see there, so I'm actually a registered psychologist. So I come from a background in allied health, particularly around workplace rehabilitation, and had my own business, Savvy Birds. I used to be a founder in the Smart Region Incubator. So, and I'm a serial lover of all things entrepreneurial and can't help myself with projects. Anyway, so there are my details if you need to contact me. Okay, so down to it. This is pretty brutal, but your innovation is probably worthless and unlikely to improve individual, family, and sector outcomes over time until you or someone else wraps it in a scalable and sustainable business model. Now, it's pretty brutal, but the way that our ethos is at the SRI is that if you can nail this and continue to revise this, you're in the best position to make money whilst you sleep, which is essentially the most effective way to grow and scale your business. And we want you to be going national and hopefully international with it. All right, so the agenda today. What is a Lean Canvas? We'll go through some Lean Canvas examples, the elements of it. You'll get the link to your worksheets, and your one-page Lean Canvas will be what we finish up with. So the Lean Canvas, to put it straightforward, it allows you to capture your business model in a focused one-page document. So literally going from the days of a 30-page business plan, which I know I've done myself and I hate it, but this is an incredible, a fast and flexible way to communicate. It's the standard way to explore the essential aspects of taking your awesome idea through to startup, and it's universally understood. So you can be presenting this in Paris or in LA or New York, as much as you could be in Sydney or Melbourne, and this is still the appropriate information that a potential investor would be needing to know to take you on board, or at least continue with those discussions. So a Lean Canvas example, here is one. This is slightly different to the one that I have added to those notes that you would have got in your Eventbrite link. So to start things off, it basically works from a few different areas. Normally we start with customer and then work our way back. This particular one works on market size and traction, has a few different things, but this is an example of one. Very structured, not much information in there. That is all the information that you need. Our expert in residence has highlighted to us that a majority of the people that he works with, they actually get this information and can get to investors and have them get over the line with this information, which is pretty good considering it's not a great deal of information. All right, so the structure, this is the Lean Canvas. So the way that we do it, On the right-hand side, you have the market information, everything around customer, your channels to get to the customer, what your unfair advantage is. And then on the left-hand side is around the product itself. What is the problem? What is your solution? And what are the metrics that you're going to follow? Now the order, again, I apologize. I know this is super quick, but it'll all make sense hopefully. And given the fact that we're a 30-minute session, not our usual 2 to 3 hours, obviously I can't stop and answer questions. But look, I hope this sums it up, and feel free to pop anything in the chat box if you have any questions along the way. Okay, oops, sorry, going back a page there. All right, the order. So for the lean canvas, we start off with number 1, the customer. Number 2, the problem. Number 3, we go to your unique value proposition, and I'll explain these in more detail when we go through those slides. Number 4 is your solution. So what is the solution to the problem that your customer has? Number 5, your channels to market. Number 6, revenue. 7 is costs. 8, metrics. And to finish up, 9, which is your unfair advantage. Some people say competitive advantage. It needs to be your unfair, because we want it to be unfair, not just that you can compete with someone. All right, starting things off. Customer, number 1 on the lean canvas. Now, what you would have noticed, I'm just going to escape out of here for one moment and show you this lean canvas page here. So when you are ready to do this from home, if you jump onto the smartri.com.au website /courses/lean canvas, we actually have this, a whole program of training module on our website ready to go. So after we do this today, what I want you to do is go through this at your own pace, follow the steps as per this page, click here to download the course materials. I have already sent this to you through the online links that came through the Eventbrite information yesterday, but I've also popped them in the chat box if you need to access them now. What you can do is you go through the course content and you follow the steps. There are some YouTube clips and some really valuable things in here that'll assist you with finishing things off. And this is a key component that we need you to do before you pitch to join the SRI. So it's really important that that you are familiar with this format, because this is something that we expect of founders and request them to discuss when you're doing a pitch to panel to join the SRI. Okay, so down to business, the customer side. Now this is key to actually getting your whole lean canvas sorted. If you don't get this customer section right, it can completely throw the whole lean canvas. Now, so looking at this part, who are the people who are going to buy your products? The ones who are actually going, or your service, who are the ones that are going to spend the money? What is their main problem? And get inside their head and face it from their perspective. That's key to doing this section. You want to look at how do they want that problem solved and what do you need to solve it for them? Collaboration is key, but do your homework first. So within this section, I'm going to go to the next page. And I want to use an example that I've commonly used, which is baby food. So for some people, they tend to think that the baby is actually the customer, where obviously in some points, yes, the baby you'd hope doesn't spit out the food at some point. But what you're actually looking at is the parent. The parent is actually the customer. They are the ones that are looking at what food they want their baby to have. They are going to the supermarket, going through those those supermarket shelves to assess what's actually going to be best for their child. They're looking at things, for instance, if they're demographics, if you're looking at a high-end baby food that is organic and, it uses some whiz-bang technology that has considered its, environmental footprint or sustainability of the business and the way that they use their products based on, impact on society and the environment, those sorts of things. What you're looking at is if you are someone in a supermarket wanting to buy baby food, what are the things that stick out to you? Because if you can get in their head, you will start to understand what problem you're going to be looking at solving for them. So if you're looking at influencers, and I'll use the baby food again, influencers might be around likes and dislikes. They might like organic food. They might like to know, where the product has come from paddock to plate. They might have preferences where They know that the baby delivery of, the baby food can be delivered to their door so that it's fresh that day. I mean, you can start to think about things like HelloFresh, and you think about what are the things that influenced people to make those purchases. Looking at challenges. So if the baby food, it's an anxiety of the parent that they don't know what's going into baby food. They don't know where it's come from. They feel guilty that they're at work so much and they want to know that they've got a nutritious meal that their baby is going to have at the end of the day because they feel guilty that they can't do it. I mean, that's the sort of stuff that you want to look at. Challenges might be their availability to actually source good quality baby food where they live. So there's a few different things there, and you've got to think about what are the issues for them. If it was on the other side and you're looking at a really quick and easy product that is organic, it might be that you're looking at a lower price point to try and engage other people in a rural demographic who might not have the same money that someone in the eastern suburbs of Sydney might say have. And so it's looking at what the challenge is. What is it in their head that is a challenge for them on a day-to-day basis? So it's really about, this frames up the entire lean canvas. Motivation. So what motivates them? Is it that convenience motivates them to go for this product? Is it that it's the prestige and status of this? Has it been in Vogue magazine and they're just wanting to jump on the bandwagon? I mean, is it the quality of the products that they know that they love quality? They want an Australian made, they want organic. That may be so important to this particular demographic of customers, and that's what you need to nut out. So other examples might be for educational programs or something to that effect. It might be that the government or a provider, like a workers' compensation provider, like the CIRA or State Insurance Regulatory Authority, they might be really looking at the motivations. You might be looking at their motivations being a cost-effective product that they can then sell across the country. So it's really important to think about your customer from different angles so that you know exactly then how to reach them and how to talk things through. As you'll see on the right-hand side of the page, it is a bit blurry, I'm sorry, but on those worksheets that you have at home that I've sent the link for, that's where you will fill this out yourself. Okay, number 2, your problem. So number 2 is problem on the lean canvas. So your problem may be your best asset. On this form that you're going to fill out, or this worksheet, you're going to fill out the 3 problems your customers are currently facing. Not what you think they're facing, what they say they're facing. Identify the problem, articulate the problems you're trying to solve, and identify who may be interested in what you're doing. List who, what, when, where, and how does the problem occur. So as you'll see in this form as well, the first bit you'll write is problem 1, then there's problem 2, problem 3. So it might be, I'll use the baby food example again, not excuse. It may be that the problem is that hardworking parents feel guilty that they're not able to get daily organic food sources for their babies, and they want to pay good money for it, but they can't find that type of business that makes them feel good about the choices they're making. That could be a perfect example. Problem number 2, I'll use the example of, say, HelloFresh, the fresh food boxes that get delivered at home. Their problem might have been that people want to be able to cook good, nutritious, healthy meals, but they don't have time to go and get the ingredients, and they don't have the mental energy to think about what they're going to cook for dinner. So that might be an example of what the problem is, and you're just writing what the problem is in as much detail as you can. The next bit we will get to in a little bit is the solution. Okay, number 3, like I said, how are we traveling for time? All right, 1:15, I better speed it up. All right, so unique value proposition. What makes your idea unique? What is the single, clear, compelling message you could tell someone to inform them about your new startup? So an elevator pitch, I think about when I used to work for Jardine Lloyd Thompson in Sydney. Well, I didn't work in Sydney, I would visit Sydney, I worked in Tamworth. But if I was to go up to 36th floor, I think it was, if I was in that elevator and I had that time to go up in the lift and explain my pitch, this is what I'd need to have. So for example, you'd be saying, I provide XYZ service for XYZ customer who needs, and then outlining their biggest problem. So that might be the baby food. I provide a organic baby food home delivery service for hardworking parents in corporate environments who work long hours, who may need to, oops, I've just got a chat here and I apologize, I haven't seen it. I'm just going to have to stop the share so I can make sure. Oh, level 7. Thank you. Sorry, I couldn't remember if it was 36 or 37. Thanks, Anthony. Yeah, so I provide organic baby food for parents or carers who work long hours in corporate roles, who their biggest problem is ensuring that their child is well fed and they know where the food comes from and it's a beautiful quality and a great service. It has one important benefit, which is the fact that we are certified as organic and the first ever to come up with this drone delivered baby food in Sydney or in the world, unlike competitors who just drop them off in a van. Our point of difference is that we are #1 and have 10 million followers on our Instagram, and this is what the feedback has been that people want. Hopefully, I would say, I mean, those elevators were pretty quick at the JLT building up to level 37, but I would hope that getting up that lift in that time, I could pitch that. So that is a perfect example, I guess, of the statement you would need to have. And this is tricky. And like I said, you keep revising as you go, but you need to be able to sum it up. If you've got an investor there, they don't want to hear you waffle on. Just spit it out and get it in that statement. And that's one of the things that Gary has always pushed us on, even since when I had Savvy Birds, he used to push on that, and I'm very grateful for it. Now that is the form or the worksheet that you need to go through. As I said, this is all on the Lean Canvas page on our website with some additional helps and hints. Sorry, it's a bit weird with this green screen I've tried to do. And anyway, so it's describe your product or service. Who is your ideal customer? What is your customer's biggest problem? What are the benefits of your product? What do your competitors do? And how are you different from your competitors? So that's essentially all the elements to build up to make your elevator pitch. Okay, and solution. Be specific about your solution. So solution is number 4 on the list, but be specific about the solutions your idea, product, or service solves for your customer. Solutions can be innovations, new approaches, integration to adjacent processes. So it might be an add-on to, for instance, you could have I'm using an example, but a tractor with a piece that simply adds onto the end. One of our founders from Multi-Track Pro has identified in the marketplace that there's a particular tractor tire system that he has come up with, which is an adjacent process. So it's integrated into the existing tractor. Creation of sustainable business models. So around here, as you see on the right-hand side, the problem, you're going back to what your problems were on that previous sheet and how will you solve that problem. And again, keep it in this, and as you'll go through, you'll start to get better at refining these, particularly when we get to the final form. Okay, channels and industry partnerships. So how will you reach your ideal customers? Is it through a website or online? Is it social media? Is it referrals? Is it trade shows? Are you going B2B or business to business, or you're going direct business to consumer? Find the early adopters and validate it through traction with them. Industry partners de-risk your early or mid-stage offerings. I want to give you an example. One of our founders of BirthBeat, Edwina Sharrock, is an incredible example of this. So what Edwina does is online antenatal classes. She was featured on Shark Tank, which was amazing. But what Edwina has been so great at doing is building industry partnerships. So I know recently she's built a partnership with Salesforce, which is publicly available knowledge. She shared that on her social media, so it's very exciting stuff. And also Commonwealth Bank. So rather than going direct to try and meet a customer, she has actually gone for the whole big fish, which obviously could result in sales of lots of individual services or products for lots of people in an organisation, rather than going direct business to consumer. So talking about ways that you can work, whether it is that you have a whole new postal device service and you think you could revolutionise that, rather than doing it to individual customers, could you go direct to Australia Post or Star Trek or any of those sort of FedEx type companies, as opposed to going just with individual post options? So look for opportunities for proof of concept, e.g. trials or research. If there's an opportunity for you to do research, touch base with the university. I highly spruik, obviously, the University of New England. And then look at additional domestic and international markets. So is it just Australia? Could you scoot over to New Zealand and that's an opportunity? Is there a partner that you could think of who might be interested in the UK? It's worth a discussion to see different ways that you can get your product to the marketplace. And then also too, looking at investment opportunities. It may be that, for instance, I'll give an example, Sass & Bide, the Australian clothing label that's at Myer, they sold, I think it was something like 80% of their business to Myer. So that then obviously they were having a hands-off approach, essentially selling majority of their business, but that then meant that Sass & Bide brand would be long-term secure. So whilst some people might not want to give up their business, but if that's something that's an option for you, always begin with the end in mind. That's the advice I've always received. It's always thinking down the track, how would you sell? And that was some advice from Mr. Yellow Brick Road, who I'm having a mental blank, Mark Burris. That's his key advice in a lot of the work that he does with startups. You may not wish to sell, and that's totally fine, but always operate like you're going to. All right, so that's your channels information there, that worksheet that you need to complete, and what will you need to make these channels happen. All right, revenue, the big bucks, the multi-million-dollar question. How are you going to make money? So how does your business intend to make money? Is it a physical product or a service that you're doing for them? And is it direct? Is it a price per customer or service? Is it indirect? So is it a subscription model? Is it, I don't know what I've written sage or hire for, but is it a hire or a licensing agreement? Is it fees or is it partnerships? Looking at these things will determine essentially how you're projecting your earnings and how you could potentially go to a customer and say, would you pay for this as a subscription, or would you prefer this to be a price per customer? Start to play with some numbers. Look at competitors, see what they're charging, start to write things down. And I think that's sometimes people go, oh, I'm not quite ready yet, or I don't know if it's the right time. It's never really the right time. There is no perfect time. It's worth just having a crack. And this is the perfect structure for you to do it. On the right-hand side here, how will your business make money? It is literally, I think, why most of us are here. So we've got to get that down on paper. Costs. What do you need to do to get your idea off the ground? What will you need to keep running and keep those costs, keep those doors open? So your fixed costs, writing those down around things that are relatively going to be the same, things like rent, things like staff costs. Majority of those things, there's little variation. Variable costs can be things that can change as your business output changes. One of our founders explained to us that she imports some goods for her product here in Australia. She's based in Canada. And she said that just the change in the Australian dollar can impact around about $10,000 just in the stock that she gets in. So that can be a huge variable cost based on the Australian dollar, as it would be potentially for exporting, not just importing. So it's really important to think about those things. Your fixed costs, is it that your hosting fee for your website? Are your developers, are they going to be a one-off fee for your website development or your tech platform development or app? Or is it going to be that there's an ongoing subscription that you work it out over a year? So it's definitely worth starting to think about these things and really nutting them down now, because then you'll start to determine a little bit more back in that revenue section as to how you're actually going to make money. That's your form there. Pretty straightforward to fill that one in. Metrics. Some people hate this section. I actually am a SMART goal enthusiast. I've had it drilled into me by my dairy farming family, the 7 habits of highly effective teenagers since I was a young pup. So metrics, what numbers will you use to measure how your business is going? And I like to say that for now, if you're in the really early days of this ideation period of your idea or business concept, look at what your milestones are going to be in the next few months. Is it that you want to actually talk with a developer in the next month? Is it that you want to set up a bank account in the next 3 months? Or if you are already off and running, is it in the next 6 months you want to have 500 customers that are the early adopters that you test and track their feedback, and you work with them to do variations to the product that you're considering? Make these specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Everyone has their own kind of review of what that acronym works for them, but that's my one. But make sure that the key is a time frame. I just think if there's anything in this whole process of a SMART goal, give yourself an actual time frame, because otherwise you'll just keep going, I'll get to it. I'll talk to that person, I'll get around to it. Give yourself a time frame. I won't go into the Harvard business team review of those that set goals. I think the ones that set goals, I think, had 80% more wealth than the people who didn't when they did their business degree. And I think it was a review taken like 20 years after. Anyway, I will confirm the exact stats on that, but that's something I've always been reminded of. So get your goals written down. This here is that worksheet for you to complete that on. How are we going for time? Oh, goodness me, we're very close to time, but we're nearly done. All right, your unfair advantage. Like I said, we're not talking competitive advantage. Competitive's like, oh yeah, we could compete against them, whatever. What is your unfair advantage? Why is this unfair? Majority of the time, you'll actually find that it's something about you. Why do you know this stuff? Why are you picking this? It's because you've thought of it, and somebody else may have thought of it, but why is it that your business is going to be better than that? Why is it that you've done it and they haven't done it? What have they done? You know, yeah, I guess it's looking at what's unfair. Why is it unfair? And you think of a picture of your competitor throwing their hands up in the air saying, it's so unfair that they can do this because. So what is it about your business? What does your business have that can't be easily copied or bought somewhere else? And like I've heard Claire Quigley, who's an amazing a visiting business consultant who comes to the SRI occasionally, and I remember telling her a business idea, and I said, you know, I just don't necessarily want to talk about it because I don't know what the idea is yet, and I don't want to have anyone copy it. But the thing is, your competitive advantage means that no one can copy it because you've come up with it. You know the ins and outs of it. Only you can think the way that you think, and that's something to be remembered. You might share your idea with someone, but someone's got to recreate it. They've got to have the same passion as you. They've got to have the same knowledge as you. So, you know, I'm sure lots of people have thought of Facebooks and Googles, but have they done it and have they been successful? Probably not. So that's where you fill it in here. So brainstorm in here what your business can do that can't be easily copied or bought. I can X, Y, Z better than anybody else. So there you go. That's the next bit. All right. So wrapping up your lean canvas, we're nearly there. This is the format again. So we've gone through all of that. Right-hand side is market. Left-hand side is product. This is the final form. You will see this on those documents that I sent through the chat, and also those ones that were online that I sent you through the Eventbrite ticket link. So this is on that last page. This is essentially what you need to put everything into. I highly recommend this. If you are going to pitch to join the SRI, which we absolutely welcome, if you want to, smartri.com.au/apply. I've said that a few thousand times. But the key with this is make sure if you can nail this, once you join the SRI, if you join the Hatch program, we go over this every month. So we are refining this all the time. So this is your final lean canvas document that you need to fill in. Key messages, just to wrap things up, get your customer step right first. I cannot stress this enough. Without that, and without understanding your customer and getting in their head, and really spend the most amount of time that you can on that customer section. Ask some people what they think. Talk it through. Talk to your potential customers and find out who they are. You're wanting to build what's called the customer avatar. So what is my example of baby food, my 35-year-old Sarah from Double Bay, who works 60 hours a week as a lawyer in the city, and her partner does something similar, but she loves her child and she's so influenced by doing quality and doing the right thing. So that would be my customer avatar for the baby food, but obviously you go into that in a lot more detail. Collaboration is key. Talk to your customers. Oh, I forgot a step. Continue to revise, and perfect your lean canvas. Your lean canvas is your one pager. That is all you need to get summarized, and then revise again. Then talk to us, because that's what we do. And this is me. That is my email and my phone number. If you want to touch base with us, that is our handle on our social media. But I think that is me done. So there you go. That is your lean canvas in a quick session. I cannot believe that I did that in 34 minutes, but give or take, let's say 31, because we had some time at the start. Thank you, Emma. Thank you. Now, does anyone have any questions? Yes, will there be a recording to share? Yes, so I have recorded this session. So what I will do is I will put this onto our Smart Region community page. If you're not following it, it's on Facebook. Share my contacts page. Thank you. I know it was super fast, Valerie, but I tried to keep to that 30-minute session. I did promise a quick intro. I know it's so much to take on, but as I said, you can do it through our website, and that way then you can do it at your own pace, because I know, again, it's full on. But what I'm going to do is for you now, I will really quickly show you my contacts page again. There you go. They are my details. So dimity.smith@une.edu.au. And my number is 0447 637 460. I work Monday to Thursday at the SRI. My Fridays are currently my brain power days, where I'm ticking over my next idea, which I've got to work with our developer on this afternoon, because I have no idea what I'm doing. But look, I think I'm in the best place for it, which is awesome. So there you go. That's my details again, but I will stop sharing. The community page is called, what I'll actually do for you, Paul, right now, I'll jump onto Facebook and I will send the link in the chat box so that everyone can see the group page. And what we actually do is with this Smart Region community page, this is where we share any of our recordings. This one here, it's the book. So that's our Facebook page. But I'm going to share this. Sorry, I meant to send this to everyone. This is our Facebook page for anyone who is interested. It is a group, so it's a private group. This is where we share anything to do with our events, anything to do with opportunities, anything to do with any recordings that we've done. So like I said, I will record this session. I have recorded this session. So once I've downloaded this and then uploaded to YouTube, I will put that on that page for you to go back and have a look at. But like I said, those resources are always available on our website under resources. And you will soon be getting a link from me from Eventbrite, which will be, I'll actually put it in the chat here. I'll open up Calendly. I have put together a page, as I said, for you to be able to make contact with me and do a one-on-one catch-up. If there's, obviously, again, I know it was a really quick session, but that was the goal. People were saying, we just want lunchtime sessions, so we've tried to do that. So right now, in the chat box coming your way is the link for Calendly. So if you would like a session with me next week to talk through in a little bit more detail, please let me know. I love this stuff. This is my favorite thing. If I don't have the right answers for you, I will find the person that does. And I think with these lean canvas sessions, yeah, I love them. So much fun. So does anybody have any questions now? What I might do is I might actually stop the recording. So thanks to everyone who has watched the recording.